Yeah, I figure we could just kind of
But
lean right in because the topics are pretty. I feel like they're pretty easy, pretty fun. Um,
yeah, I'm gonna bring them up right now. Actually,
cool.
I mean, do we? I mean, do we go in order of how they were written? Because I feel like it's a strong start just opening with Kanye.
I mean, yeah,
The the weed stuff is big too, but I feel like a little warm up for that is good. I mean, I have interesting thoughts about the weed thing.
yeah, man. I wanted to
I
kind
think
of
at
talk
least.
about the weed in general. I was excited that this came up. Obviously, I was excited about the announcement and stuff, but I was just excited to kind of talk it over with you in general as a topic because I know we maybe touched on it a little bit on the Fed post about
Mhm.
marijuana legalization, use, etc.
Yep.
And I know that it's something that there's a wide variety of opinions on. I feel like specifically in dissident Twitter and dissident politics, in maybe I don't know, maybe not a wide array, but at least in our corner, I feel like there's some people that are pretty anti the whole movement above it. Some people that are anti the way it's implemented, and so I think it's something that'd be good to kind
Yeah.
of talk about. Um,
Well, dude, honestly, all right, I want to talk about that right now then,
Word.
because okay, all right, because this is something that like I have a lot of issue with, and I have a lot of caution around, which is, I mean, I guess it's gonna be just. I guess you could just call it contrarianism. I think that I think that social media and all of that, it rewards novelty, and so you see this whole life cycle of issues where it's just like you think yourself retarded until you go all the way back around to just having like the patently shitty take on
Oh my
something,
God, yeah.
because it because at the very least like there's nobody anywhere on Reddit that holds that opinion, right? And weed is kind of one of those things, right, where like it's really boring because it's an overwhelmingly popular issue,
Mm-hmm.
right? Overwhelmingly. um and it's complicated, right? And I almost want to just like table that right out of the gate, but like put that first for emphasis for me. I'm gonna ramble here a little
Yeah,
bit, so
yeah,
hear
that's
me out.
fine, man.
I know that I've never rambled to you before,
It
but
wouldn't be right to talk
um
about weed without rambling a little bit. You know what I mean?
oh, 100%, dude, and I haven't even blazed up yet
I was
today.
gonna say actually, I just smoked a blunt before this, and so bear with me if it is. I mean, we're celebrating a little bit, and we're talking about weed, so it's topical. I figure let's go for it.
Yeah, so um okay, right. That right out of the gate, that just like the I don't want to say contrarianism, because in this kind of ironic way, like saying contrarianism is really cliche.
Hmm.
Um, but the whole problem is just that people are too concerned with saying things that are cliche and rote and kind of trite.
Yeah.
Um, and like it's okay, right? I mean, like it's not a hot take at all. Murder being bad,
Yo, for
right?
real.
But I'm not gonna like twist myself into a fucking pretzel and be like, actually,
I need a
um,
nuanced take on this.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
God damn it, there's just like a weird fly just like standing on my computer monitor. Get the fuck out of
He's
here,
trying to
bitch.
join in.
Oh, he's back, dude. Dude, he's trying to bum off me,
You think
man.
he's a government
Um,
spy? A little drone?
he's a he's a narc for sure. Um, no, so man, okay. Having said that, right? Play the devil's advocate position here, because like I have I have really pretty firm and strong feelings on the counter to this too. Also,
Hmm.
which is, man, okay, the culture that emerged in reaction to prohibition around marijuana is like really bad,
Yeah.
right? Like high times is fucking cringe. Okay, when I was like young, like in high school, I was like I was like the type of guy I was basically like stoner guy,
Yeah, that's the
right?
type of guy for
That like
sure.
yeah, that's a type of guy that like talks about it a lot, right? And I say this, it brings me no pleasure to say this, because that's like the most boring cringe guy you can be in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
but at the same
Um,
time, because it is, you said it's the most boring and cringe, I feel like it is kind of like the cliche thing you were talking about earlier. there's nothing too terrible about it, right? Like, it's not the most lovely person aesthetically. It's not someone that is probably going to be, a pleasure to be around and offer,
No, I could have been a quarterback that raped
Yeah,
girls or
yeah.
something,
There's a
right?
whole host of other things that are much worse.
Totally. I got out of high school without getting anybody pregnant or going to jail, which is better than I can say for a number of
Yeah,
people
that's a
I know,
W.
right? But the reaction to like being a weed guy isn't even necessarily what I'm talking about. The main thing I'm talking about is like weed is like white woman shit now.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that shit. I think that like calling out white women is just like the socially acceptable way of like sounding like a dirtbag leftist and being like, oh, I'm misogynist. The real thinkers are calling out black women. But
Mm-hmm. Their mystical,
it's like
magical ways, dude. We see right through them.
the black girl magic. And um it's kind of cringe now a little bit. And the big thing is just the reaction to the culture of prohibition has led to this view of marijuana that it can like do no wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And like the fact is like I know a handful of people who have had like relatively severe mental breakdowns from smoking weed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing that happens, right?
Yeah.
It's a thing that happens. I think that I think that everybody knows like a whole legion of people. Like okay, I'm willing to bet a majority of the people listening to this show right now have met a number of people that have like noticeably bad anxiety issues, that smoke weed, that is made a lot worse by their drug habit with weed, that are in complete absolute denial about it and insist that it helps with
it can make
right?
you get into like hermit mode a little bit, in that respect.
100%. It does a lot. It like this is the whole thing, and this is why it's important to me, is that like I'm an alcoholic, right? And like, grateful to God that I have years sober, right? But it doesn't do anybody any good to do the thing where you just go like, marijuana isn't addictive at all and it doesn't have any negative side effects. I'm saying this as someone who like I love smoking weed.
Yeah.
I fucking love it, right? And I loved it before it was basically the last thing that I could do that was left to me, right? Weed rules, right?
Yeah,
And there's those times for me where I've had times where I've struggled with it and it's been a negative presence in my life. But dude, like, and I know that you know what I'm talking about. There's those times where you just smoke the right thing at the right time and it just clicks and you're just like, this is awesome. Right. And that's counter to the times where you're kind of in a rut where you're just going through the motions and you just have a habit and it sucks. And like, and it's not super helpful. And yeah, I guess that's the big thing. The big, I'm giving some oxygen here to just the anti position, because like it needs to be acknowledged that like if anything, it's kind of like the liberal, just total liberal cultural hegemony. Like people don't acknowledge that the overwhelming normie position about marijuana these days is that like it doesn't have, and this might be a bit of a hot take, I guess, but like to my perspective, the normie take around it is just like weed has basically no consequences. It's super cool. It's impossible to be addicted to it, and everybody should try it because it's great for all these reasons. And like that's really misguided.
Yeah.
And like, and especially like if people like, if anybody listening to this show and you're listening to fucking podcasts, you probably smoke weed. If anybody listening to this show similarly enjoys partaking, I like think you should also have an issue with that. Because like, I don't know, like I'm sure people, brewmasters at breweries or distillers or things like that, like I'm sure they would be the last people in the world to be like, oh yeah, like there's no harmful effects of alcohol. Might as well just like pour it down children's
Yeah,
throats, right? Like
DUIs are
it's
cool.
you know, exactly. Like everything. It's just it's not, marijuana isn't just this like ultimately morally righteous thing
Yeah,
or something, right? And I think that we keep putting gas in that tank by pretending, just like we do with so many like kind of progressive social um narratives. We act like we're still in like the early 80s,
hmm
raging against some like Christian moral majority that's like saying that smoking a little bit of dope is like gonna turn you into a demon spawn or something. And it's like, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
I mean, at this point I'm repeating myself, but that's the main caution I have. You know, having said that, if you can just be like a normal, well-adjusted person who can kind of like hold like again like a balanced approach on something, which for the record I think should be a prerequisite to just like in having any kind of relationship with like
yeah.
substances,
Any
mind altering
substance,
substances.
even non-mind altering ones, dude, like sugar, literally anything. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Well, I would say sugar's mind
yeah,
altering.
I guess you could say that. It's not like psychoactive in the same sense, but yeah, it changes one's mood. You know, you can have a
Yeah.
positive
I mean,
response.
I think, dude, I like last time I went on Rare Candy, we talked about this exact thing, and and they fucking know what's up.
Yeah, those are the
But
boys.
I think I even made the comparison to like coffee, right? And I
hmm
would say the same thing. Like, I think that, excuse me, dude, I just like slammed my dinner to get to recording, so I'm just like I'm burping,
Oh,
dude.
I know that one, dude. Meat sweats and burps, bro.
Meat sweats and yeah, I had bangers and mash, so both of those are
Ooh,
kind of
nice.
it was pretty good. Oh man, I think when people do the same thing with coffee,
hmm
that's also bad. Like coffee goes kind of hard, dude.
Yeah,
Um, and this thing that you can kind of just have like this like passing, really casual relationship with it, while also like being reliant on it every single day. Now, I would probably say that like toking a little bit of ganja is probably a little bit more dramatic of an effect on your day than like a cup of coffee is. Um,
yeah.
but not by that much, to be
It
honest.
depends on how much you partake in, right? Like how much you smoke or how if you took like one pinch hit and or you drink like 4 cups of coffee, I feel like, those things will probably be pretty equal. Like the four
Dude,
cups of coffee that might make you a little bit more wired than the one pinch hit would make you stoned.
I mean, and there's definitely like situations in which I can just take like a little tiny toke, and that'll be a lot less of a dramatic effect than even just like a single cup of drip for
Yeah.
me.
Man, I had some
Um,
espresso the other day and I was like, woo boy. Man, I'll tell you, you're right with the coffee thing. I'm glad you brought it up because I've been working a job now like where I get up really early and I work
uh-huh.
in the morning. And so when I first started,
It's probably super easy to rely
yeah,
on it.
exactly. I just started drinking so much coffee, so much coffee. And I'd be drinking like, I don't know, 4 cups a day or something. And for me, that was a lot. And I realized after a few months, like, hey, I'm drinking way too much coffee. So recently I've been just cutting back. I'll drink a little tea here and there, and I'll drink like maybe one coffee a week or something. Just because I noticed I was getting like reliant upon it and getting tired earlier in the day if I wasn't drinking it, and I just didn't want I didn't want to get reliant upon something in that way. So like I'm pretty cautious about trying to distance myself from any type of habit or not really habit but just reliance upon sugar, caffeine, and even weed, anything like that, because I think that that's
I
generally not too good.
No, totally. I think one thing that I've been kind of in like my religious practice that I've been kind of like reflecting on, honestly,
hmm
is like the Catholic Catechism's stance on marijuana, right? Is and you know it actually it's a little bit hard to find an official stance, and I'm sure that there's some trad people that might listen to this and just be like, Slav's a fucking retard, like is horrible, right? Because that's always what they're gonna do. But
hmm
um I think for the most part, the real take is just like it's a sin if it blocks your connection with God,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not like bringing this up just to be like to have a fucking theological discussion, but because like that's a that says a lot, and I think that generally that's a good way to approach it. And like and I know that secular people can translate that
Mm-hmm.
into terms that work for them.
Yeah. If it like takes you
If
out of your
it's
connection with like, reality in a healthy way, or if it takes you out of your um, responsibilities to others around you, or anything like that, that's a way to translate that in a more secular way. Um,
or psychology would say if something's keeping you from like doing the things you want to do and leading the kind of life you want to live, then it's you know
yeah.
it's 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 a problem.
Yeah, it's one of those. That's just one of
um
those cliche things, right? It's like everything in moderation. It's like people need to
yeah
just have healthier relationships with how they engage with the things around them, consuming in general, like just with products, with food, with weed, with substances, with drugs. I think that most people can, different people have different levels of what they can handle and what they should be doing. Like what you were saying earlier about how that weed, you've seen people that have really bad anxiety that deny it, they keep still smoking weed, or all these various things. People become just hermits or lazy and they don't pursue their dreams, whatever it is. I think that goes to show just like an unhealthy relationship with consuming that substance in
th-
general. And I think that's like kind of like what you were saying with the alcohol. Um, I think that, some substances aren't for everybody, or none are for everybody. I don't think that there's anything that really is a one size fits all for everyone. So some people just, yeah,
Water.
water, yeah, water for sure. Oxygen and water.
Yo.
The things that like God provided us with just naturally here that we don't even have to do anything to get except for just like scoop up with a cup. Those kinds of things,
Mhm.
those are fine. But even like water, dude, like
Hold up, I'm gonna scoop up some oxygen with a cup real fast.
bro, even water though, you don't want to drink like too much because then like, you could have kidneys burst or something. I don't know. But still, it's you want to.
Over oxygenate your blood,
Yeah,
you'll
you could
die.
do that kind of thing. So either way, you want to have a healthy relationship with whatever you consume. You want to be mindful about how it affects your mind and how it affects your ability to interact with the world around you and the people around you. And not everything is for everyone. So not every substance is for everyone. Alcohol
Yep.
may not be for everyone. Some people may have, not a good self control with that, but may have good self control with other substances. Some people may not have good self control with any substance at all. And that's something that maybe
Well,
they should work on personally as well, but also know that about themselves so that they don't engage with them in an unhealthy way.
100%. And like listen, like if there's I'm not going to say that this is like the ultimate insight that I can give about this, but like it's been a big part of my life. And if there's one thing right now that feels like probably the most in this moment, the most useful insight I can give as somebody that's like struggled with addiction is understanding, right? That like I don't like there's two things I really don't like with this stuff, which is over identifying with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you see this a lot with
Mental illness.
yeah, well it's that exact thing, right? And you see you see like a lot of like middle class white kids or something like that, basically like being like, well, I can't adopt some kind of marginalized identity, so I'm going to kind of affect it or
Yeah.
something, right? If they really can't force themselves to be queer, whatever that means, right? And then they just like valorize whatever's defective with them
Mm-hmm.
psychologically, and I feel like that happens with um, addiction in a big
Yeah.
way. And you know I really don't like the chemical imbalance stuff of just like, well, like, well, Sonny, I was born with a brain that just really can't regulate alcohol. Yeah, like we're created as beings with free will.
Yeah.
Um and to narrow it down to that really gets first of all, it gets rid of any moral
Hmm.
component of it,
I don't agree with any of that
which
shit. I don't agree with a single chemical imbalance theory as far as mental illness goes, as far as addiction goes, anything like that. Like there could be
Mhm,
predispositions possibly to certain things,
mhm,
but you as an individual have the ability to control the way that that you react to, and the way that you engage with the world around you, and that includes
mhm.
substances and how you like. Yeah, you just need to develop a stronger discipline or find the things that you need to do, like removing yourself from environments or going to a program that can help you. Or there are things that you can do that eliminate your need to engage with that substance in that way. I don't think that it's a brain chemistry thing that, oh, I'm locked into this. I don't really like the concept that I'm powerless to my addiction. I do understand it within the framework of, but I give it up to God, who isn't powerless in this case. I think that that's a decent framework, but I don't really like the concept of just letting people run with the idea that they're powerless to their addiction, because I don't think you're powerless to any type of mental predisposition or anything like that. I think you can overcome, I think you can overcome like even like Asperger's or certain autisms. I think you can overcome ADHD and shit like that. I think you can overcome depression. I think you can overcome addiction. And I don't know if that's just some woo woo, but that's just what I believe. I think that a lot of it comes from deep rooted problems, psychological or spiritual ones, that if you engage with them long enough in a thoughtful way, you can see what those problems are that are causing those things. And if you're willing to do the nitty gritty work, you can work on those things so they don't impact your life in the way that they are.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's definitely like a lot to unpackage there. I like, yeah, totally. And the brain chemical stuff, the big point I'm just like arriving at here is just, dude, the thing to keep in mind, and this is for anybody, right? This is for anybody who's even just like, you're casually token up here and there, you're casually having a drink, you're casually fucking ordering something on Amazon, right? Um, every fucking thing around you, all cultural narratives around you, the fucking role that you play in the wider communities you have membership in, and all of that stuff, is all of these different angles bearing down on you are all trying to instill addiction in you.
Yeah.
Like that is the great psyop of all, is that like everything on television is trying to lower your inhibitions and get you to be more of a consumer.
Hmm.
Everything everything in I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's fucking everywhere. And it doesn't take like a PhD to like point out what I'm saying, right? Like this isn't like by any means like the most incisive thing in the world, but like it's another thing to like really acknowledge that and operate on that
Yeah.
assumption, right? And so like just like understand, and I really do believe this, like, you know, when you get home from your like fucking soul sucking shitty job that's like probably not productive in any meaningful way, that's like deeply alienating, and you get to your just like shitty apartment or something, or I mean, maybe you don't even have a shitty, just like you crack open a beer,
Hmm.
just like understand that like there are so many more forces pushing you towards like cracking open a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth
Yeah.
tonight than your grandfather had. um and that like, you that all of us together are just like so much more predisposed in that
Of course.
direction. Am I saying everybody is an alcoholic? No. Am I saying that like the era we are of, it puts that pressure on all of us more? And
Yeah.
like in that way, that's kind of a big reason why that environmental factor is also why it's just like I don't I don't see myself as like really identifying with the identity too much of like an alcoholic
No.
or something like that, or even seeing something as defective in myself, because like this just seems to me like
It's
the
forces outside
normal.
of yourself and that are like
Well, of
forming you
course.
into this thing, and you can react to it in another way.
Well, exactly, and, like, we build people to be a certain
Yeah,
way socially, right? And, like, my actions in some ways seem like kind of the logical outcome
of
of
course.
that, right? Now, obviously, it comes down to me to take control of it and,
Hmm.
like, be the adult that takes responsibility. Um, but I don't know. That's just what I would say to everybody, especially, honestly, people that smoke weed, because I think that like, what isn't acknowledged goes underground, right? And so like the negative effects of marijuana, just refusing to acknowledge them makes them more of a threat, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say to anybody. But I mean, why are we talking about this in the first place?
Well, I just wanted to touch real quick on that there. But I don't want to. Yeah, I don't mean to sound flippant as far as the the weed use, or as far as addiction goes. Like, if it being something that's like you just have to pull up your bootstraps and dig yourself out of it. I think that there's
Mhm.
obviously a dialectical approach to this where, of course, we live in a culture of excess. We live in an epoch of addiction. Essentially, capitalism basically breeds addiction, because it wants to get you hooked on the next product that it can sell you, it wants to get you hooked on consuming things as much as you can, etc. So people engage with everything in an unhealthy manner. And it can be really hard once you get stuck into those cycles to change. And the culture that we live in is forcing people into those by presenting them as crutches or putting people in situations where they feel they need to lean on a crutch of drug use, substance abuse, whatever it is. And I think that there are definitely things we can do as a society that we could absolutely address addiction and the drug problems that are present within our country, and help to soften that and eliminate a lot of the avenues. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is individual issues, where you do have to, as an individual, change your mindset, find something else to live for, find another way and better way to live in general, in order to overcome a lot of those things. Um, and so, yeah, it can be difficult. I think a lot of it is caused by just like a deep spiritual sickness or like a emptiness, a hollowness. I think a lot of people just don't feel comfortable, or they don't feel at right. They don't feel at peace with how they're living or what their life is becoming or how the things around them are.
Mhm.
And so they reach to these
Mhm.
things. And I think that's perfectly understandable. It's heartbreaking that so many people fall into pits where they feel like they can't dig themselves out, and so they keep reaching for the bottle or for the pill or for whatever, the powder, whatever it is. And it's heartbreaking that we create that situation, but also, communities around individuals can do everything to try to change an individual, or try to help them, and it comes down to them, themselves making that decision to live for themselves, to live a better way, and to change what they're doing. And that's difficult. I don't know what the key is to flip that. You know what I mean? But people have to do it on their own. And so that is an issue that is not something that should be taken lightly. Of just people just need to stop being addicts or whatever. But at a certain point, there is also individual responsibility. But that's how all these issues are, right? Like that's how everything is. That's the nuanced take on pretty much every issue, is that, yeah, there's still individual responsibility in like so many of these issues that come up into people's lives.
Mhm.
And yes, there's societal framing that lead to those, but there's also an exchange there between individuals and the community and the society and culture that shapes them, um, that needs to be kept in mind too.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think that there's like a deep nihilism that's really common in addiction.
Hmm.
And so having something to live for, and then also, you're talking about like communities, and like I think if you're showing up every day at your little altar of addiction and slowly killing yourself every day, which is what it
Hmm.
is, like having skin in the game, having somebody who's like going to notice your absence when you're finally gone is a big to me, right? I mean, I don't want to like speak directly to anyone who's like suicidal right now and be like, I know how you feel completely. Like, I don't want to do that, right? But that accountability, right? You're hurting all these other people. Your life just isn't just about
Yeah.
you, right? That's like really important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just showing up every day to just kill yourself a little bit is just so completely fundamentally different.
Yeah.
When you have when you're embedded in a community, and you have some kind of stakes.
Yeah, you feel
But
like you have a
of
bigger
course,
a bigger purpose, or you're a part of a bigger network, right? And like, if you get
uh,
to the point of view, which I think is the healthy and probably the spiritual outlook generally, which is that, you are one integral part into, a wider connected net of individuals and of other living things, and everyone plays, a specific role, and they're created in that way to play that role, and that people around you can't live up to their full potential unless you're in their life being that light to help them do that. And when you're not treating yourself correctly, it leads to you not being in the lives of those around you and helping the people around you reach their full spiritual potential or their full human potential or whatever. And so, in that way, it's vital for you to take care of yourself, to live the best life that you can, and to be a light in everyone else's lives in order to, try to bring a little bit more harmony, a little bit more holiness, a little bit more of God's will into this place.
well, so it's funny because we introed this topic. We're talking about this because fucking Joe Biden federally legalized marijuana
Yeah.
on the federal level, right? So that doesn't mean that it's legal in all states, right? But I mean, where I'm at, I'm good,
He
right?
didn't really legalize. He expunged records, like past possession records, and made it so that
Oh no, you're totally right. You're totally right. Right. I guess I thought the talk of the town because of this was that the implication was that it
that
would
is the talk for sure. But we're not at that stage yet.
it's loaded into the chamber,
Yeah.
right? Um yeah, I mean, it's great, right? It's great. I mean, in my mind, I it's just funny, right? Because we're going to talk about this like in a positive way, like the idea of legalization. I mean, though, I mean, maybe we aren't going to talk about that because I guess it's not as cut dry as I thought. But it's just funny because we like intro this topic by just like getting super serious about addiction and everything. Uh, I mean, we both recreationally use marijuana. We both like
Yeah,
it.
of
We both
course.
support the legalization of marijuana. I mean, in my mind, it is so rote. I'm not gonna do the thing where I'm gonna like turn myself into like a 1980s country club wasp Republican just to like own leftists that
Yeah.
I don't like. Like I'm just gonna continue to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um and and yeah, I mean, to my perspective, legalization of marijuana is such old news, that basically at this point it's just um, basically kept in the chamber so that somebody some election cycle can just like win a ton of points,
Yeah.
right? Um, and yeah, I mean, is old Joey gonna do it? I guess I don't really know.
Well, that's what he
Um,
said specifically. So in his address or whatever, it's an executive order he signed expunging the records of people that have been arrested for at a federal level, not at state level, at a federal level
yes.
of simple possession of marijuana. Um,
Which by the way, because I did, this was kind of my first reaction to it, like, and I'm a little ignorant here, so I'm actually genuinely asking, like, that doesn't that doesn't cover that many people, does it? Like, I
no,
don't
I
I
don't.
don't under how does one even get arrested federally for marijuana unless you're like running QPs across state
Yeah, it had to have
borders?
been maybe getting, I don't know, getting arrested, going across state borders or like in a federal land on property or something like that. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's what kind of was unclear about that.
I know one person that has happened to, and it was because they were drug smuggling
Yeah.
across state
And that's
borders.
not simple possession at that point. That would be that would be, smuggling, that would be distribution, that would be
Right.
possession with intent to
Which
sell.
kind of has nothing to do with the cultural narrative that he's kind of tapping into, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, let's just like call a spade, right? This is like what this is like part of just a super racialized view of politics that all shit libs have now. And like the whole thing is people just being like, oh, like think of all of the black people that were wrongly
Yeah.
imprisoned, that this is freeing. And you know, that's great. People shouldn't be in prison for a dime bag, whether they're black or white or fucking even Italians,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, God
But
bless him.
like, God bless him. But
Wait, shout out
I don't.
Italians though, real quick, because Columbus Day was just a couple days ago. So,
Yeah,
that's just one
100%.
for us. Anyways, sorry, let's go on.
You mean Indigenous Peoples Day? So,
Yeah.
anyways, no, you know, people, you know, running a fucking brick of Mexican shag across 3 state lines isn't like, to me, exactly the same as like some high school kid who got caught with like a little
Nah,
cigarette pack cellophane wrap, you
yeah.
know, with a nug in it, going to fucking prison. Like, I don't,
No, and that's a state level too. Like, see, okay, I've been arrested for marijuana a couple of
fucking
occasions.
amateur. I'm just kidding. I'm just
On a
kidding.
couple of occasions, and that was in the great state of Alabama. And at
Okay.
that state, it's not legal or decriminalized or anything at that level. So like this doesn't expunge my record in the states. This doesn't do anything for my charges because they were pressed at a state level, or like it actually, I don't know, in the municipality. But they're not federal charges. I don't really know how how you end up getting a federal marijuana possession charge. I really don't. But either way, it is a symbolic move he's making that.
It's actually, oh no, honestly, this fucking rocks though, because like we're being the like ignorant, lazy podcast retards by just being like, I don't actually really even understand this all that much, but like that, no, but that's the most effective commentary on this,
Yes.
because it's just like, it's like, do you think that the average fucking person that this is like trying to win points with understands this better than we do? Probably fucking not. Most people are probably, if you actually ask them to game it out, fucking confused about this. What the
Yes.
fuck is this about? In like short of, you know, Joe Scarborough on the TV telling him exactly what to say, right? Like I don't you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just if yeah. So
Yeah, I think that's what
I mean
all of it
my
is.
life,
All the political stuff that they do is all just like a confusing gesture, really, that ends up not really being a whole lot of anything, and just looks kind of
no.
good. And you're like, oh, that's a good sentiment. And then you look into it, you're like, wait a minute, what does this even do? I'm not even sure what this does. Is this even helping anyone really? And you're like, I don't know. It
Right.
just sounds good though.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I've been, you know, Washington legalized years
Yeah,
ago. And so
fucking
I've
degenerates
been,
out there.
yeah, it's great, man. I've, you know, I like, you know, I've been in the light. It would be so foreign to me at this point to like call up a drug dealer
Yeah.
and like have to do that fucking bullshit. I like, you know, I go to a store and like I and all that shit, right? I don't need to worry about this. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I live in a state
yeah,
where it's in this weird middle ground now where it's like they've got medical weed, but there's not legal actual weed.
which is always the precursor.
Yeah.
Which is always the precursor, because they look at that and they see how much tax revenue they got coming in, and they go, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, "Oh, this is a new
And
market to
and you
tap
get you
into."
yeah, and you know, it's like how many fucking people can have glaucoma? You
Yeah.
know, like this is
Dude, to
bullshit.
get your card here, you can just go online at any time. Some of them are
Right.
24-hour online things. And you just tell them like, "Yo, sometimes I got trouble sleeping." And they're like, "Yeah, you're good."
Dude, it's the same thing as like becoming like an ordained minister. Like it just doesn't
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
anything. You just like print. It's the same as a food handler's card,
Yeah,
dude.
for real.
It's funny. It's also, honestly, this is one of those contrarian hot takes that I actually 100% buy into. strongly, and you can take this to the bank, emotional support animals are fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
okay.
and like going.
I will say a couple of
No,
things.
no. Let me finish. Let me finish. I want to dig myself the grave.
Dig it in.
Then I need to try to dig out when you come up with some good hypothetical.
Oh, it's not good.
Okay. All right. Well, bad or whatever. This fly is back, by the way, dude. I'm like swinging a towel at my fucking monitor.
That's your emotional support fly, bro.
It's a fucking emotional abuse animal. Son of a bitch, get out of here. You just go online and you just fucking pay them money, and then they're just like, yeah, it's fine, dude.
Yeah.
I got my dog downstairs. He's a bad dog. He's a bad dog. He doesn't listen. He's not. I train him 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. You know, he's naughty. You know, I can just give somebody $180. I don't know how much it is. I doubt it's over
It's less than 180.
Yeah, I mean, come on, easy, right? I can just throw money at him, and then suddenly that little shit is like walking into an Applebee's in like a legally protected capacity. Yeah. He doesn't have any right being in there.
No, he shouldn't be in there. I'll give you that.
He shouldn't be in there, man. And it's just like, you know what it is? You know what it fucking is? It's people, and like, I'm actually totally serious right now, right? It's people taking the goodwill that's kind of implicit in like the social contracts we all sign on to like have shared spaces together and all that, just having the public, and just like being little fucking shits about it, and like just getting away with whatever they can technically get away with, right? For every rule that has like good spirit that goes along with it, that allows all of us to have nice shit, there's somebody that's just gonna push it to the edge and fuck with it and just like not be generous at all. Right. And like, I'm sorry, 400-pound blue-haired woman in fucking Cookie Monster pajama pants who's gonna have a panic attack if she goes and orders a latte without her similarly shaking chihuahua.
Yeah, with a chihuahua. Like, I knew it was gonna be a chihuahua. Anyways,
of course it's a fucking chihuahua, dude. Like, it's the same rules as like cars, right? These like fat bitches drive the tiniest cars.
Dude, the Honda Fit or whatever, the fucking little Chevy Cruze or something.
The Fit, dude, and they're falling apart. And they got fucking Naruto bumper stickers, and they got the smallest dogs.
Yeah, they're like light blue color or something, like some kind of neon color.
Light blue car. The dog's called like Sasuke or something. And like, and it's just like, I'm sorry, lady, but like, you know, I'm not allowed to bring my dog in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like hanging out with him, but like, it's just not appropriate. I don't get to do everything I want to fucking do.
Yeah. No, man,
but
you're
what
right.
You did is you just paid somebody $90, but like, it's not cool, man. It's just not cool.
There's a lot of people. Okay, there's a lot of people who are gonna do that in every situation, and those are the worst kind of people. Like, there's a lot of people who are like not good friends, and they know like what's the limit of the bullshit that their friends will take from, and they'll just push that constantly because they know they can. Or there's a lot of people that will do that, like you're saying, with the, you know, basic rules of society. It's like, you know, you don't have to clean up for yourself at the movie theater when you leave, but you should take your stuff to the trash. You know, like shit like that. You don't
walk your fucking shopping cart back.
Yes, exactly. It's the cart problem, right there. And then it boils down again to individual responsibility, individual actions and choices. And yes, you could say it's societal that we breed a certain level of self-involvement, self-absorption. We breed like people just on the run and don't think about the people around them. They don't want to take the time to do good things, whatever. But also, you don't have to be that way. Even if the culture is grooming you to be a certain way, you as an individual can develop a practice on your own to be better than that. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. But second of all, here's what I'm going to say, and this is not going to make you happy. But I have my cat registered as a service animal, as an emotional support
animal. Podcast is over. Podcast is over. You son of a bitch! I'm flying out tomorrow. I'm gonna kill you. I'm coming to kill you.
No. Okay, but here's the thing. I don't take him anywhere ridiculous. I don't take him to restaurant. I don't take him in like anywhere he shouldn't be. It's just so that I don't have to like okay, when I lived in Colorado, I lived in like the only affordable place, and it was government housing. It was the only place.
So your landlord can't fuck you
Yes, my
over.
landlord can't say I can't have my cat, and so I don't have to pay an additional X amount of money a month for rent. I don't take them into places, and I know it's still kind of skeevy, I guess, but like, I mean, fucking fuck my landlord and fuck most other landlords I've had. So I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on that one. And yeah, so there's that really for me. And
Dude, even okay, I'm gonna say the hammer's coming down. I'm giving you a pass, okay? I'm giving you a pass because I know that you're an honest man, and I think it's a case to case basis of just like what rent prices are like in a certain area, but but right, it's not a pass for everybody that does that, because for every fucking person who's got a reasonable, and I'm sure you have a reasonable cat. I'm sure he's a reasonable gentleman or
yeah,
lady, right? But for every person that does that, there's some fucking person with who's like living in like a studio apartment with like, landlord. Listen, like, just like how you are getting, and there's going to be people that don't like this, right? I think people should actually work for a fucking living, and being a landlord isn't it,
yeah,
right? But right, just like how you're getting the emotional support thing to just make it, right? Because that's the hustle, right? And you can't afford the increase, right? That's like kind of what landlords are doing too in their own way in
sure.
a lot of cases, right? And like for every person like you who's doing it for the right reasons, and I'm not going to blame,
Well,
there's somebody in like
you don't have to
I'm
say, you
giving
don't
you
have
the
to give me
benefit.
the benefit of the doubt. You don't have to say I'm doing it for the right reasons and this, that, and the other. You know,
Dude, you're doing it for the hustle, which is the podcasting game, all right? And I gotta have respect for that. But for every person like that, and I'm insisting that that describes you, there's somebody with a fucking studio apartment with a fucking like poorly trained husky that like eats the wall.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And like that person, the person that owns that space is fucked.
yeah.
It's
Oh, it's
fucked,
terrible.
right? And like and just because like I think that person should like get a real job if they don't already, and I'm not going to default to siding with them in a lot of situations. Like the current system we have, that person literally has to exist in some
Yeah,
capacity, and like it's not fair that happened to them because someone was fucking with the
yeah. I mean, I
rules.
wouldn't like smear shit on the landlord's walls or anything. Like they're people too. You know what I mean? And so you got
Yeah.
to be a reasonable individual and like, you know, engage with the other people around you like they're human beings and you have a level
Mm-hmm.
of personal responsibility. So yeah, I just had to be honest. I had to put it out there and let you know what I'm working with, where I'm at
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
issue. I do agree though. There's a lot of people that really like. I have a friend that has these two. Well, I guess he's not really a friend. He's an associate I knew. I would
You
play
have an
some music with,
enemy.
kind of now, honestly. But anyways, this guy and he
Christ.
had a couple of dogs, and they're these big motherfucking dogs. They're like Argentinian Dagos or something. I don't know what they're
I
called,
already don't like
but
them.
they're essentially like if a pit bull met like a, I don't know, a Serbian like mountain bear dog. And
Also, they're good with kids.
oh, they love kids. It's their favorite snack. But they're these huge fucking beasts, and this man takes them around, says they're service animals, like says they're service animals, but they're emotional support animals, which, to be fair, don't have the same level of coverage under the eyes of the law. Like you're not legally allowed to take them into restaurants or anything, but because there's a weird gray area, people just do it anyways. He's doing this with these dogs, and they're not well trained. They're jumping on people. It's like the worst experience of all time just being around him with those dogs. And yeah, that's a terrible thing to do. You definitely shouldn't do that. Um, yeah, I'm just doing it. I'm just gaming the system a little bit, give it a little bit, take a little bit. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And I try to just, not impact the people around me too much. My cat's not eating the walls, anything crazy. If he was, I wouldn't do it.
I
Um,
mean, though that little son of a bitch does walk over your computer
he
when we
does.
record a
He does get a
podcast.
little bit antsy. He'll start walking on the
Actually,
keyboard.
honestly, on second thought, now that I've remembered that, I'm calling your
Yeah, get
landlord.
him out of
I'm
here.
narking on you. Dude, honestly, homie will be better off without this toxic cat in his life.
For real, he's the dragon in my life, bro.
He's the director. You gotta slay him, Bucko.
Holy shit, man! Jordan Peterson would not be happy with me.
Oh, absolutely
I
not.
guess
Absolutely
speaking
not.
about Jordan Peterson, I guess we've kind of we don't want to dead end the conversation too much, just of talking about
We've
weed
literally
all.
only talked about
Yeah, and
marijuana
we
so
were talking
far.
about like I know we made a joke last episode that we did together about becoming like a Doug Benson-esque weed podcast, and we were just
Yeah.
joking like as if it wasn't going to happen, and now it has happened. So I feel like we need to maybe do a shift quickly, like a segue. It'll be a hard segue into our next topic, which is also light, and it's about Kanye West.
John, I'm about to go DeathCon on this topic, dude. Let's go.
Nice, nice.
Dude, I'm lighting up a bowl of weed, about to go DeathCon on this marijuana.
Holy shit, bro. Man, okay, so this is really great for me. For a couple of reasons.
I got a take on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a take on it. I know everyone's got a take on it, so that's one thing that's good. I know we're not going to try to be too attached to the timeline or anything, but this is a good cultural figure that I think everyone's aware of and can either love or hate, or love to hate, one of those options. And so I think it's pretty good. But I'll start this off just by saying I think we've previously had a conversation about Kanye West like a long time ago on the Fed Post.
I'm sure.
In which case I said something along the lines of, I don't even know if I like or respect Kanye West as an artist. Like, I never even really got that big into him. This and that, the other.
Mm-hmm.
I have, in the past few months or recently, gone back and listened to some of Kanye West's music.
He's gonna walk it back. He's gonna walk it back.
I'm walking it back.
He's talented.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I wouldn't be right if I wasn't being honest with myself and with others around me. And so I will have to say I was wrong. Kanye West has got some fucking bangers. He's got some great albums. Graduation.
He's prolific.
Yeah, all that's fucking great. And
I haven't even delved into his body of work that much, but like I've encountered enough of it to understand that he's masterful.
Yeah, he's a once in a generation artist at what he does, and it's incredible. And he does stuff that's way outside the mold, and had been doing stuff outside the mold. He's a rapper, but he's like a rapper producer, which was a difficult thing for him to break into. And so I can see where, like, if he didn't have the ego that he has, he wouldn't have made it to where he is as an individual. Like, I watched his documentary that's on Netflix that came out a while ago. It's pretty good actually, but they're talking about like just his struggle of trying to get actually listened to as a rapper instead of a producer. Like, people just tell him he's nothing, this and that, the other, and he had to have a chip on his shoulder and say, to himself, I'm the shit, and convince himself of that in order to get to where people would take him seriously and have the strength to persevere through, people not giving him a chance. So I can see what creates that kind of mindset. And also his music is fucking fire, a lot of it. And he does stuff like Jesus Walks and stuff like that that's really gas and is like not conventional within the rap and hip hop thing, because like he doesn't rap much about like just doing crime or like that kind of stuff. He's more of like and it's not like Will Smith clean rap or anything, but it's less like, I don't know. It's a
take off your shoes when you walk in the house.
yeah. It's not like that, but
don't let Chris Rock disrespect your wife.
Fuck. Yeah. Oh man. Stand up for your woman. Yeah. So
keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Fuck. My name's Will Smith, and I'm here to say, yeah, something like that. But anyways,
I'm not gay.
Fuck. But yeah, he's good. He's good in that respect. So I like him in that way, but the reason he's in the news recently, and he's been in and out of the news. He's a character that is like often referred to because he's easy to make fun of. He's easy to hate on because he says and does outlandish shit.
Pagliacci the clown.
Yes. Yeah. And he does the thing where he does like says the garish thing or does the garish thing in order to get the big response. And, that's what our culture's attuned to. I mean, he was literally married into one of the biggest fucking reality TV show families ever. So that's crazy.
Oh, they're beyond a reality TV show. They are they are the modern aristocracy.
Yeah. Well, these people are sick.
Yeah.
First of all, well, I guess we should intro. Let's
Let's-
intro the show here real quick too, as we're talking about those people.
Oh, these people are sick.
Boom.
I don't know. I don't like that. I'm never gonna say it like that.
No,
ever
we're
again,
in there though. That works for now.
Yeah, we in
So
here.
yeah,
We out here and we in
these
here.
people are
Within and
sick.
without.
Kanye is. I like to think he's not as sick because I like to think of him as kind of like he's like this like chaotic good within that realm. Which is
Dude, we're about to talk about D&D alignments.
Yo, for real.
Let's do it.
But I think he does play that role. And anyways, people love to hate on him. He was deeply entrenched in all the like the horrible media, like sicko Hollywood fucking pedo shit and like all that, Kardashian shit, fucking Caitlyn Jenner ass shit, all that stuff. And then he was like, he had kids, and he was like, whoa, I don't want y'all doing this shit to my kids. Like, y'all are gonna be trying to have fucking my kids on Playboy and shit. That's fucked up. And so he got out of there and caused a bunch of issues and kind of like fall from grace from that circle. And also at the same time started saying, anti-liberal takes, not the most.
He's become a conservative celebrity.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like anti-lib in the way like we are. It's like no, like he is a Republican.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah, he came out doing like anti like leftist kind of stuff, like saying like it's these people and anti Black Lives Matter and wearing the Trump hat and going all that stuff.
Based.
Yeah, okay, exactly based. So this most recent thing, obviously, I'm sure you've seen because I imagine you kind of looked over it. But he wore to some fashion show White Lives Matter shirt instead of Black Lives Matter
with
Candace Owens, who fucking probably a reptile. This bitch, unreal. But all these people are. So these people are sick. Let's go ahead and just take that as a granted.
So write that
down. Yeah,
go
ahead and jot that one down. But he shows up to this event wearing this. Obviously, it's an inflammatory thing. Obviously, this man likes to be in the limelight and uses these things for marketing reasons, etc., etc. So, I mean, you got to take it as a publicity stunt, at least in my mind, regardless. So that happens. He's into the limelight now. And then, what happens next? Tucker Carlson comes around. Let's do a quick interview. Fantastic idea for both parties. For Tucker Carlson, that's great. You jump on the person that's hot right now, saying the thing against the thing that you don't like, that you can build a narrative around. You can bring him in, say, oh, look how these people treated you, etc.
Arguably the most famous musician in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'll go that far, but I mean,
he's up there.
Top 5.
I mean, Beyonce maybe bigger, just because like.
I mean, honestly, I would think something like from Asia, like BTS.
Asian shit, yeah.
But then that gets into like how we're even quantifying what is the most popular.
So who knows? And anyways, he is big time, and it's a great grab for Tucker Carlson. Great move. For Kanye West, probably a good move too, but also probably not. Like, because what ends up happening is, people are like, well, this is terrible. We don't like this. He says some things, about like anti-Black Lives Matter, says something about like, Jewish agenda, these types of things. P. Diddy texts him and is like, yo, dude, chill out a little bit. And he responds something about, tell those Jewish people that told you to text me to fuck off. Something along those lines. He then screenshots the photo of his own text message thread and posts it on his own Instagram.
Himself.
Yes, dude. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. High level, like, I don't know what it is, retardation or high level 4D chess, something. But he posts his screenshot from his own phone of this message. Gets himself canceled, obviously. I mean, obviously, you don't do that.
Which can we just say for just half a second? Like, I've never seen in like a face-off like a bigger difference in just sheer power levels between Kanye West and P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Just like just another galaxy. Just another galaxy. Like you were like Biggie Smalls's pet dog.
Yeah.
Like just nothing. Not anyways.
Fuck.
I like actively I'm not super into hip hop, but like I just like don't like Diddy.
No.
He's just there's something that's
Puff
always been
Daddy
fundamentally
is his name.
Yeah, no. That's not a name that a man with dignity gives himself.
No.
Which just spoilers for anybody, he came up with this fucking name.
Of course.
There's no way. Yeah.
Anyways, this guy, Kanye posts a screenshot of this message, which I think is hilarious. And he says something along the lines of, "Funny thing is, I am not even anti-Semitic, and I couldn't be because I'm the real Jew. Black people are the real Jews." Boom.
Go off.
Drop the mic. Hotepology is back in the forefront, baby. We are back on top, and it's time, baby.
We're so fucking back, dude. We're so fucking back. Big head science. It's the year of big head science. These beasts of antiquity and Puff Daddy, they're going back to the Caucasoid Mountains.
Yes.
You're going back.
And I think it's nice because it's a bit of a resurgence of the Hotepology in the mainstream discourse, because as far as I can remember, I mean, there was a hot period where it was like Nick Cannon was getting mad, like, or people were getting mad at Nick Cannon because he was like saying something about the Jews and something about Black Israelites and Hotep shit.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of hot for a minute. But then it was like there was a kind of quiet period, but then there was that mass shooting that occurred with the dude that had the big head scientist poster on his wall. And so that was kind of back in the limelight. And here we are again. So it's nice because Hotepology, White Hotep specifically, it's, deep in the Fed Post lore, deep in the lore of this shared project that we're working on here. So nice to see it back in the action. And it's just hilarious because A, he does all this to himself. B, he's kind of right. Like, that there's people that are messaging, like, P. Diddy's feeling the pressure, and it's like probably just like, why are you stepping out, bro? Like, why are you doing this right now to yourself? Everyone, like, the machine is gonna act up at you. So, like, now Kanye West may think that the machine is run by different people, or maybe say that the wrong word for it. But I mean, to one degree or another, what he's saying is correct, is what's happening, really. Maybe it's not the Jays, this, that, the other, but it is. There's a social force that's led by a select group of individuals, ideology, that is kind of creating this line that you can't cross, and he crosses it and people check him. And that's what's happening here. It's what happens in Hollywood in general, and within like that thing all the time. And it's creating kind of like a counter elite situation within those groups that are kind of positioning themselves outside of it. But also, it's just kind of funny because, like, also as soon as he says that, and I'm saying he's kind of right here, JP Morgan Chase drops him. Like, they were like business partners of his, and then he comes out and is like, yo, the Jews run everything, they got agendas, I'm gonna go DEFCON 3 on them. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the banks are dropping them. So I mean, you can't. And then they're saying at the same time, oh, how could he say these horrible, unfounded things? Okay. You can't do both of those things at the same time. You can't have the biggest bank corporation drop him as an affiliate because he's talking bad about how Jewish people run the banks, and then also say that's a preposterous thing, there's no way that could happen. Because you're reacting, you're proving the point a little bit that there's a group of people. Anyways, so he's doing all this. It's very funny. It's entertaining to me. I think it's good.
I love the way you pivoted away. Just by the way, for a second there, where you just like, you can't just say that there's a group of people that, anyways. So.
Well, I don't want to go wading into any murky waters because, I think we've talked about these things before. I think that there's an elite class of individuals that, coordinate certain things, and I don't know how deeply or how completely they're in control of everything, but they coordinates over certain things, but I think they're grouped together more along
Okay,
class. But
listen.
anyways,
The question is whether the question is how much explanatory power like the religious and ethnic traditions of this group plays in their sustained like position as economic and social and cultural elites. That's a question that like is subjective, that's hard to answer, at least by my estimate. But like whether or not this group of people are in overwhelmingly overrepresented as, you know, cultural, social, economic elites is uncontestable. It's literal
yeah,
facts, right? So I mean, there's that, and everyone fucking knows that, and the fact that everyone knows that, and that any time this is vaguely brought up, even slightly, everyone kind of steeples their eyebrows and does a yikes face. It's like, okay, well, I mean, it kind of proves a certain level of truth.
yeah, yeah. That's
So you know, there's that. I think what he said, because you saw the I'm gonna go DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people.
yes,
post,
and that
right?
of course terrible look, right?
Well, okay, all right. So here's my thing. I mean, I'm not gonna act like I can explain. All right, have you ever seen like Synecdoche, New York?
Yeah.
All right, Kanye is Synecdoche, New York. All right, like he is like his music isn't like the main artistic content that he's
Yeah.
putting out anymore, right? Like it's him,
Yeah.
right? And it's the we can't right now, we can't like take a step back and like do a review of Kanye's latest art installation, not only because it's not over, but because like we're actively participating in it right
Yeah.
now, and we can't like achieve the subjectivity necessary to like see it fully.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm at work and I hear my coworkers talking about like, oh my god, he's so bad, and like, oh, he's also just a bad artist, and I hate all this stuff, and then I do the thing quietly and I don't speak up about it because I value being able to pay my rent. I like hear that and I go like, oh, these people are fucking stupid, and like, you know, this is just normie lib shit. Every response in that situation is like part of the art installation.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's everyone has their part to play, and it's like spectacle as the art. And I don't even necessarily know if you can say that Kanye is the first to even fucking do this, right? Like I'm sure he's not, right? But it's very telling, you know, like the whole history of art is like just like this huge repetition of like the first person to do it, and then the first person to do it to a huge audience globally,
Yeah.
or the first person to execute on it really well. And like, and so there's that, right? And in that way, like I think it's really difficult to peg how sincere Kanye is. And I also just don't know if like Kanye's sincerity is really like even a coherent concept at this
No, I
point,
don't
or
think
even
so.
really
It
relevant.
doesn't matter.
People are going to talk. Well, it doesn't matter, and people are going to talk about it either way because again, we all have our parts to play.
Yeah.
But he's a brilliant musician. I am an anti-leftist, and I gotta say, I'm, you know, I like shitty entertainment
Mm-hmm.
culture stuff. I'll play stupid, shitty, grindy video games. I'll watch. Well, I don't really watch television, but like, you know, I'll listen to dumb bullshit. I'll watch dumb YouTube videos. I'm not above a passing enjoyment in triggering the libs every so
Yeah.
often. I think Kanye's fucking annoying,
Yeah.
dude.
Man, I was just about to say that.
I think Kanye's being fucking annoying.
It's cringe.
And like it's cringe. I watched the whole Tucker interview and I actually thought that there were parts of it that like were interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that also kind of just has something to do with the fact that like I think Tucker's just like an interesting
He's a
interviewer.
good he's a
Uh,
great host. I mean, he's just a fan. He's good at what he does. Yeah.
yeah, I like Tucker
Yeah, I
Carlson.
like the product he's putting
Um,
out.
yeah, and there's things that he's talking about, like when he said that factoid about like all the black babies in New
Mhm.
York getting aborted and shit. It's like, yeah, that like that shocks me,
Mhm.
right? And um, but I don't know,
Here's the
man.
thing.
Like this is annoying. That's what I'm gonna leave it at. Yeah.
So before I had anything to do with the latest him saying anything on Twitter about the Jays or anything about his messages,
The Jays.
what?
Yeah. Definitely nothing to see here. People who we can only refer to as the first letter of their group
Fuck, I
identity.
feel like that's actually worse just saying that. So I'm gonna drop
It
that.
is.
um, but anyways, despite all that,
The Jays.
before before I even saw any of that, I saw him with the White Lives Matter thing, and I was like, man, fucking okay. I'm just sick of the reactionary shit. Because here's the thing. It's like you said with the weed culture, the reaction to prohibition, and I meant to talk about this when you brought it up, but the thing that makes it so reprehensible and off-putting and cringe is it's reactionary. It's not a level-headed, reasonable, rooted take or position to hold on anything. None of this shit is. No level-minded person thinks, okay, me wearing this White Lives Matter shirt to this, you know, fucking ghoul convention of a fashion show in LA or whatever, it's going to spark healthy and good the conversation about how the BLM movement doesn't actually how the whole thing is a farce and how it's part of a false ideology, etc. These things to me, they're cringe on it. You're like, this is gross. Yes, of course I agree. Like the whole beat, like I think it's important to counter these. I think it's important to counter the cultural narratives and norms and things, but I don't like the way that they're doing it, and I think the way they do it is wrong. And I think that not only is it cringe, but it's bad because it creates the dichotomy. It creates that you're either on this one side and have these crazy views, or you're on this one side and you have these crazy views. Where yes, I like to see the libs owned, but I don't like it if the only reason to do it is to own the libs, because it gets so tiring so quickly. And when you get on that train, you start to realize, man, a lot of this is just fucking cringe. And not only that, but these people are just as bad. And but right now, I just like them because they happen to be saying some of the things against the people that I dislike more right now. But in 10 years or 20 years, if things change power wise, these people suck just the same amount, if not worse. And like, it's all reactionary bullshit. And it frustrates me that that's all that we have as options. And so I don't like
I think
feeding
it's
into it.
I think it's reactive and not reactionary, just because like well, I mean, I guess it is reactionary, but like to the extent like how you're describing it, I think of it as, not to be pedantic, but like I think of it as like reactive, and I think you're speaking on something that's like really true, that's bad, which is, it's you can very easily let um when you're doing this reactive thing, every move is contrary to what your opponent is doing.
Mm-hmm.
um you know they're dictating your actions,
Yes, absolutely.
and that's bad, right? And again, I mean, kind of just like how I'm talking about, like Kanye is like this kind of like augmented reality art installation. Like that's obviously kind of what's going on with the White Lives Matter thing,
Yeah.
right? Where like it's just about, this is also, as a side note, this is literally what like She-Hulk is, right? Like I've talked to my friend about this a good amount. Like She-Hulk isn't even a television show. She-Hulk is secondarily like a television show with like a pretty limited budget that's just meant to have people talk about it trending on
Yes,
Twitter,
a hundred
right? Like
percent.
it's just what it is. It's an AR, like augmented reality game,
Yeah.
basically, right? Um I fuck, I think I might have just lost my train of thought. Yeah, the White Lives Matter thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, people think that it's like a white supremacy
Of
thing, and
course
like
not.
I think that that's funny. Um I yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's just like if I like go to somebody, if I go to somebody on the side of the, if I go to like a bum on the side of the road, and I just like I start fucking with him to like belittle him intellectually and make a joke about how dumb he is, like most people walking by me are gonna think that I'm a fucking retard,
Yeah.
because like what the fuck am I, what the fuck am I even doing, like I mean that's not even a good example because like who's to say that a homeless person actually is necessarily stupid, but like if I go up to a retarded kid and I start being like, oh, can you remember the fifth president of the United States, and I'm just clowning on him for not being intellectual, it's like
It's some sort of
that's kind of
80s
owning.
bully or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some kind of sort of 80s. I'm shoving him in a locker. I'm just debasing
Yeah.
myself, right? And like, I don't know. Yeah, White Lives Matter is kind of just like low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And I also feel like how like the critique. I feel like the critique we're making right now is similarly kind of low value and
Of
obvious, but
course.
it's like true.
Yeah.
Like it's just
If we're
like
gonna talk about a subject though, like that's the take that I have, regardless of if it's
yeah,
fully
totally.
intellectually stirring or not, you know.
Well, it's a testament to just how fucking retarded the topic is that
Yeah.
like even talking about it, like I'm saying, like just almost feels like a waste of time for us. Like the White Lives Matter thing, it feels like we shouldn't even need to just to explain it because it seems really obvious. I think watching, and I did like watching libs that I know like react to that and be like, this is white supremacy, is
Oh,
funny,
it's
right?
crazy. It's funny.
So again, like it worked, right? But in a way I kind of hate that it worked.
Yes. That's the worst part
Just
about
like
it. You're like, God damn, what are we
just like
doing, people? Like,
no, exactly, like kind of in the same way that like if you watch a television commercial and the commercial like gets your attention and makes you kind of want to buy the thing,
yeah.
you're like, oh man, that was like an enjoyable 30 seconds of my life. I kind of hate it even more because it was
You're
effective.
like, now I'm never gonna buy that thing. Now I'm mad at myself for even like, yeah, even letting that change my opinion
Exactly,
on
because it just
something.
made a fool of
Yeah.
me.
Just made me my
Um,
bitch, that commercial. Or this commercial made
yeah,
me
I
it's a
ain't
bitch.
nobody's bitch. I ain't no bitch. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kanye's kind of
Yeah.
annoying. Here, I'm checking the notes. Okay, yeah, I mean, what his accounts are? I don't know if they still are. Are his accounts still
I don't know. I know that
locked?
they locked him on Twitter and Instagram after he did the thing about Jewish people. Which just goes to say again, like obviously, I don't know. Obviously, he's saying something that upsets a certain group of people that have the ability to censor you on social media and have other high level people texting you problem like, why are you doing this? So
Again, it's fucking retarded though because it's just like it's just like it just does a disservice to it.
yeah,
But I mean, whatever. Again, it's not. I don't know that anybody can even say that he wanted to do a serious service by any of these causes,
no, of
though.
course not. No, I don't know. I don't
Um,
think it matters his intentions, but yeah, that was one thing that's hot is the Kanye thing. I needed to a platform to walk back my initial take on Kanye. And
oh,
I feel
absolutely.
like I've done that sufficiently now, so we can move on. See what else is on the docket.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, so a similar person that they hated for speaking the truth,
Oh yeah,
Alex
the
Jones.
king, the goat.
Alex Alex Jones, which by the way, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a hard time really fast because in our notes you have written $965 million fine. Does he even have it? Okay, the answer is obviously no. Alex Jones isn't a billionaire.
Oh fuck!
Alex Jones is not a
I wrote it
billionaire.
kind of like a BuzzFeed article or something. I feel like. Uh,
Dude, that's gonna be our Substack. Is just us, just like doing BuzzFeed style.
yeah, clickbait shit.
Um, yeah, man. I mean, what's the take on this? What's your take on this? I feel like we've talked about this
Yeah.
already, or similarly to the Kanye thing, if we haven't already talked about it.
For me, it's
Like
like I'm with Alex
it's just
Jones.
rote. Of course, that's the only acceptable
Yeah,
take.
it's rote now. Everyone hates him. He's really not doing anything too bad. Yeah, he may have said that he thinks that there's, a possibility these Sandy Hook shootings could have been orchestrated or they could have been perpetrated by actors within the federal government or etc. Other things that I probably shouldn't repeat in case we get on the hook for something like this. So he may have said some things like that, but I mean, fucking dude, whatever. Second of all,
Alex Jones is cool and funny,
Alex Jones
and
is
that's the
funny
final
as
word on
fuck,
it.
dude. As a performer, he's untouched. The dude fucking kills. He crushes it
He's the
every time he gets on the camera. Every time he does a podcast appearance with someone else, it's fire. It does fucking gangbusters every time.
Andy Warhol of our
Yeah,
generation.
he's great. And of course, it's obviously a symbolic thing. They're like, dude, fuck this guy. Fuck anyone that says anything against us. We're gonna fine
Right.
you an amount that you'll never be able to afford. $965 million. Like, that's fucking crazy. And yeah, they're just gonna do that. And I don't even know that what he said would really. I'm not a lawyer, right? So I'm sure that the people that duked it out in court have a better grasp on.
Well, apparently the guy defending him hardly was
Oh
either.
my god, that's the other thing too, right? Is that in the midst of the
Fucking
whole thing,
mistrial.
yeah,
Fucking mistrial.
he sends a link to the other attorney with all of Alex Jones' texts and emails from the past multiple years. How is that not a mistrial? I don't understand any of this. It's all shady. It's all, of course, they're just gonna convict him and give him the worst fine they can. The poor guy. Hit up Alex Jones Infowars Patreon right now. He needs your help. So let's dig our guy out of this hole, fellas.
Dude, I'm sure we'll put a serious dent in it.
Mm-hmm. He's about to get the "these people are sick" bump.
That dude, the classic. Yeah, man. I mean, they're just making. Honestly, it's kind of like a reverse engineer Kanye kind of thing. They're making an icon out of him.
Yes.
In a way. They're making it. I mean, I don't even need to talk it up in some weird postmodern way. Like they're making an example of him.
Mm-hmm.
They're making an example of him, and I think it's going to set precedents as far as freedom of speech.
Definitely.
And I think it's bad.
Worrisome.
I think it's bad. I think that Alex Jones is ultimately a tragic figure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think back to the first time I ever encountered him in anything, which was Richard Linklater's Waking Life.
Oh yeah. I have that on DVD,
yeah.
dude. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I was like, dude, if you haven't seen this, you gotta check it out. But of course, you literally own it because it's like, yeah, that's the least surprising thing I've heard all day. Like just the whole monologue he gives in that is like genuinely touching and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this guy, I mean, in the old streams for FedPost, we like watched a couple of his movies.
Yeah.
And like this guy, I think I made the joke, just the whole postmodern David Foster Wallace conflict of sincerity in this world of postmodern detached irony and all of that. Like all this whole this whole problem, the answer to it is just Alex Jones.
Yes.
He's just the test tube. He is the Christ figure. He's dying for our sins right now.
He's refreshing. He really is. Like that's what it is. It stands out because it does seem like it's actually earnest. You know what I mean? As crazy as it may come off, or as schizo as you want to call him, or as dangerous as waters that he wades into, and the backlash he gets, it's earnest. At least it comes off that way.
But hear me out here, because I'm gonna diverge slightly, which is I think that he's a case of success and fame being disastrous for him.
Oh, like he started playing into his own persona.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Because I think that he got really big with Trump and Roger Stone, and he's going on Rogan. And I mean, InfoWars is fucking huge, dude. I mean, Infowars back in the day was like a fucking HTML website, something that like schizo people that fucking, read Chomsky were into.
Yeah.
And now even that means a completely different thing, I guess, because Chomsky similarly tragic. But it just he got really big. I think that he became kind of a caricature of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he probably had a lot of people throwing a lot of money into the project, throwing a lot of money at him. And I think it's disastrous.
Yeah. He's like a
Um,
cautionary tale, and as far
he's
as
a
that
cautionary
goes.
tale. Honestly, I was talking to my buddy about this. You know who this also, not as perfectly because it's just not nearly the same heights, but you know who this also describes? Um, Curtis Yarvin, dude.
Yeah.
It's straight up. I've been thinking about this a lot because my friend's talking to me, and I mean maybe I doubt we'll ever have Mold Bug on this show now, but like my friend's talking to me and he's like, I want to, and if you're listening, shout out, what up? He's like, he wants well, I'm not going to spoil it. He asks me, he comes to me, he asks, is Curtis Yarvin retarded? That's the question, right? And
Fuck.
my answer to that question is,
I don't know.
my answer to that question is Curtis Yarvin isn't retarded. Curtis Yarvin's like a guy in his 50s who got famous
Yeah.
in his 50s, right? And so it's just like, it's like the most delayed, it's like going through puberty when you're retirement age,
It's like
almost,
midlife
right? Like
crisis
it's
hits like the most funding you can get and the most attention you can get, and you're like, all right, this is gonna be cranked up a notch. Right.
exactly. And like, I don't even want to make fun of the guy too much because it's like he lost his fucking wife,
Yeah.
dude. And like he managed that grief really poorly,
Yeah.
right? But like that's not that's not an evil thing.
No.
It's not a
All the
sin,
best to
right?
him. You know what I mean?
No, exactly, right? But like he's a deeply embarrassing
Yeah.
person,
I
right?
saw a
And
man that looked like him walking into the gas station the other day when I was driving. I don't know. We were driving back from going home, and
oh, are you saying that all of those people look the same?
well,
I'm just kidding.
well,
I'm just-
you know what? To be honest, all skinny-ish, kind of, partially Semitic-looking, possible like computer programmer vibes, wearing leather jackets with scruffy hair and unwashed faces. They all kind of do look alike. Um, and this man looked like
Fair
him,
enough.
and I thought for a split second, I was like, man, that looks kind of like Yarvin, and I was like, that's just what he would be right now if he wasn't Yarvin. Like if he didn't get on, Tucker and start writing about fucking fairies and trolls and hobbits, he would be this guy right now walking in this gas station just looking confused. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you right now, somebody, a a person that doesn't just see a just exponential meteoric rise in their public profile within the course of like a year and a half does not get on their computer and write the fucking Hobbit.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So that's what I'm saying. And that's kind of what happened with Alex Jones,
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of sad.
It is sad.
I think that the stuff with the Sandy Hook parents. I mean, dude, I've had people show up and making the case to me that shit was totally crisis actored up and all that shit. And I'll say the same thing I say every time, which is I'm not in the habit of denying anything
Yeah.
offhandedly. I don't know that I really put a lot of thought into it, and I don't really know that I even find it a particularly compelling narrative.
Yeah.
But I mean, just even still, the whole thing's fucking absurd.
Here's the thing with the Sandy Hook thing. I'm like,
Yeah,
if you make the case to me, I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, maybe so, dude. I don't know. I'm not gonna, like you're saying, I'm not gonna write anything offhanded because I already don't trust these people. I don't trust, the regime. I don't trust the people that are in power. I don't trust the moneyed class and their interests. And so, of course, they're doing super shady shit. You don't need to win me over. Like, you don't need to convince me. The Sandy Hook case thing's not gonna change my opinion on like how our society is constructed. I am already anti-elite in that way, and so for me, if someone brings that to me, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, you're right. But I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. And also, I'm not going to look into it because there's some things that I just don't have time to look into. Like, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that's just one topic I'm not too, I don't know. You know what I mean? I got no good opinion on it.
Let me tell you, there are some people with time to look into
Definitely.
it, and they have, and they're doing the fucking body language expert analysis of the parents doing
Looking at
interviews.
micro
And,
expressions and shit.
dude, I've heard the cases, dude. It's funny as hell.
I'm sure they can
Not
make
to
an,
derail
I'm
you
sure they can
there,
make an
but-
all right case. That's what I'm saying though. It's like, dude, I'll sit there and hear them out because I'm interested in, like, if you're gonna say some shit that's like against the grain and against the status quo, that's questioning those in power, I'll at least hear it out because I'll encourage that. You know, at least that's a good kernel of, pushback, and I'll hear it out. And also, you might be 100% right about the Sandy Hook thing. I don't know. Like I said though, it's one of those things that, like, I'm just not gonna know how to do that. Like, there are a bunch of math problems that I don't know how to work out, and I just never will because that's like just not what I'm doing with my life.
Well, and okay, and ultimately, like, okay, ultimately, the point at the end of the day about this is just like, should it be illegal to talk
Oh
about
no.
these conspiracy theories? And that's the thing,
Yeah.
and that's the fucking thing, right? He's not he. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say that there's absolutely no responsibility on the artist for the effect that his art has, right? Like, there is, right? That's a philosophical question, right? But I mean, it's a there's no clear answer to this, and I think that, yeah, I mean, just
It's kind of like the society thing, right? It's like, does society play a role in individuals' actions because of the factors that, shape those individuals every single day? Yeah, but at the end of the day, does it come down to those individuals to act in a proper way? Yeah. So, like, does Alex Jones bear some responsibility for the things that he says and the platform that he has and what he's saying? Of course, and he should not take it with a grain of salt. He should feel confident about everything that he's saying as far as he feels good, morally and upright within himself about what he's saying. But he shouldn't be like and fined billions of billions of dollars for raising questions. And it shouldn't be on him if some random people go and knock on the doors of the Sandy Hook people and say, "Hey, I heard that you're fucking, a crisis actor," and they harass him. Yeah, that's not good. But, like, that's that individual doing that at the end of the day. You can't hold Alex Jones accountable for that, I don't think, personally. Like, that's where I draw the line with art and artists kind of thing. Same thing with the society. It's like, yeah, we could change society ideally, and we do change things to try to lessen the temptations or the avenues to do the bad things, but still individuals bear responsibility. And so, yeah.
yes, if you're somebody going up and doing that to people who lost their children, and I'll say again, even if there's, let's say it's a 50-50 chance, and I don't think that it's a 50-50 chance that it's bullshit, not even close,
Yeah.
right? But let's say it's a coin flip, right? If there's even just a chance that they are, it could be a 1% chance. If there's a chance that these people outlived their children and that they've been probably, I'm sure that they're haunted by the image of their child, the fucking bullet passing through their head.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's that shadow they live within for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
If you're going and harassing these people, you deserve what you have coming to you in Minecraft. Okay.
Yeah.
100%. Now, does that have anything? Does that have I'm not going to say that has nothing to do with Alex Jones, but is Alex Jones's connection with that firm enough to just completely act on it to the tune of $1 billion, to the tune of even $1,000? I mean,
No.
it's absurd. It's absurd. There is an ethical dilemma there. And that's exactly what it is. It's an ethical dilemma. It's not this case closed thing. And the kind of precedent that it sets by making it this confirmed thing is really concerning, and people should really be concerned about it for sure. Even people that aren't fans of fucking Alex Jones.
Yeah, even people that
without
don't have a
doubt.
podcast, you know.
Dude, absolutely. Dude, I'm praying the rosary for fucking Alex Jones.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we what do you want to do here, Slav? We're about an hour 35 into this. We've got some more topics we could poke through, but I feel like we've also got a decent bit in
I think
here.
we got a solid amount. I actually kind of got carried away. I would have kept going if you hadn't told me. Yeah, I mean, let's call it here. Fuck it.
Cool, man.
Let's hit stop.
Yeah, we can save those other topics. I'll go ahead and hit stop.
Wait, hold on. This can't be the last thing we talk about. This can't be the last thing we talk about.
I guess we need to do a what's the deal with these.
What's the deal with this broad? What's the deal with this broad? Who are we talking about? We'll do lightning round. What's the deal with this broad?
Nuri Martinez. First of all, her name is wild. Nuri. It sounds like the jury. So
that's not a real name.
Yeah.
So right out of the gate, what's the deal with this broad's name?
What's the deal with this broad? She is a city councilwoman, or was a city councilwoman, in LA, and she has recently been disposed of, or I guess that maybe sounds a little darker. She has stepped down from her position, and
someone went DEFCON 3 on her.
Someone went DEFCON 3 on her after she went DEFCON 3 on some little brown people, and she had to step down from the LA city council. She was the president at the time, and because she said some racial remarks, which is very. This is kind of interesting to me because this lady Nuri Martinez is a Latina woman, so she is, the face of diversity changing American politics as we know it, and yet she gets into office, and next thing you know, she's kicked right out of office because she's making racial remarks too. So I guess it's not only the old white men that are doing it. I guess it's also some of these other people, and it may be more of a systemic issue, or it may be more just of an issue of people taking things a little too seriously or whatever. But in this issue, she referred to indigenous populations of, I don't know, some word that I honestly can't pronounce and I probably shouldn't try. Oaxacal, something like that. OAX something. Indigenous population of individuals. She referred to them as little brown people. And then referred to
that sounds fun though.
Yeah,
like that sounds like kind of cute,
yeah,
right? Like I can go up to my
vibe.
dog and be like, "You little brown man."
yeah. And so I don't, that's playful, whatever. And you know what? They're probably of small stature and they are of brown skin. So not entirely wrong. Probably not how people love to be referred to, but whatever.
Well, what else did she say?
She also. And this is where I say, there's some credence to like people being a little bit like, what's your problem, lady? Because she got caught on this recording.
That reminds me of the Posting Menace. Do you remember that? Just like, what's this guy's problem?
My god, dude. Yeah. What's the deal with this guy? What's this guy's problem? Holy shit. R.I.P. the Posting Menace's account, but God bless him. I hope he's doing the best.
He's probably honestly, dude, he was probably healthier than all of us even when he was posting.
No doubt.
That guy was just always just going on hikes and
hanging out with fucking Waka Flocka. But anyways, she got caught on this recording, which whoever's recording this conversation and leaked it, majorly suspect, questionable individual. You gotta cut that person out of your life. But she got caught saying about her co-worker who was also on the city council something about how he's got an adopted boy or something like that, kid, and he's a black kid and this guy's white, and something about they're raising that black boy like he's white. And then she referred to him as some Spanish phrase that means little monkey. So really you can't do that. And then she said, quote, because in reference to them raising him like he's a white kid, said that she should beat his ass or something, take him around the corner and whoop his ass or something like that, which I don't understand where that comes from. Like, does some Latina broad that works for the city council whooping your ass make you that's gonna make you street hard now or something. Like I don't really know what that is, but all that severely out of line. You shouldn't be talking about beating up children. You shouldn't be talking about beating up your coworkers' children for sure. This lady, crazy broad, sick in the head. She's an LA fucking politician. Sicko, real
Yeah.
sicko, this one. But the other stuff is just kind of crazy, like her saying little brown people, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not great. All these people are saying crazy sicko shit. And the real thing I think that got her is that it was in the context of rezoning. Like, doing something to do with, like, fuck, what's that word? Gerrymandering
Redlining,
or something.
redlining or gerrymandering.
Yeah, something to do with that, where changing the districts and how funds are allocated and how representation is allocated in order
Yeah.
to. And what would happen with the proposal was that it was going to end up impacting Black people, historically Black communities, in order to quote from her, make sure that Latino communities aren't losing anything. So it's
Yes.
like it's
Latinx.
Latino.
Latinx. E. Latinx.
And so they want to make sure.
E.
Oh fuck! It's a real battle of the races here, which is interesting too because it's like
Race Royale.
it's where it comes. Yeah, this is where this identity shit starts becoming an issue, and you start to see.
Well, it's a circular firing line,
Yes.
baby. It's just kind of like how, as of a few years ago, Black men are on notice. You notice that? Black men are on notice. Gay men also on notice.
Yeah.
Which honestly probably higher than anybody, because gays and trannies are natural enemies.
Yeah.
And we all know who's winning that fight.
Let's be honest,
now.
gay men deserve to be on notice. They'll say the most outlandish and petty shit you've ever heard in your life. Like I
mean, also, like, to be fair, like, I'm a little bit salty just about I'm a little bit salty. All right, I'm a little bit salty about like having like 3 years of my fucking life taken away to like fucking slow the spread of some bullshit virus, while like gay men out here just like willing monkeypox and AIDS into existence because they can't wear a fucking rubber, dude. Like,
oh lord,
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, so it's okay if they're a little bit on notice, shaping up. You know what I mean?
Gay men are 100% on notice.
Fuck, where's KW Miller when you need him, bro? We gotta bring that man
he
back
died for our sins. I heard he needs to pay the families he hurt $1 billion.
Holy fuck! I wouldn't be surprised, bro. He needs to team up with Neri. They need to get together, do a ticket.
Well, dude, honestly, dude, like, fucking. Well, is this broad Mexican? Whatever. I'm gonna say she's Mexican. Mexicans are like the absolute, probably most based people in the fucking United States. So
Holy
I mean,
shit.
yeah, I mean, he would probably blow her out of the fucking water. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with this broad.
Oh, I don't either. I know she's out of
calling
there.
little black kids monkeys is probably not. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's my hot take. It's not good.
It's not good behavior.
I don't know if you should call little black kids monkeys. That's probably. But I mean, if I'm like giving people advice, I'm like, hey, listen, if you want to smoke that joint, that's fine. Just be aware of the risks. Also, talking about black children, maybe don't call them fucking marsupials, But that's me. I'm one man.
Fuck.
I'm fallible as God made me, But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, fucking, I don't know. She's just a fucking girl boss, dude.
She is. That's what happens though when you let these broads get too much. I mean, we start trying to be too inclusive. We start trying to just frontline people to power because we want to get a good Latina broad in there, and she's gonna do the same problems because all these people are sick. Once you get in there, everyone's got prejudices in the first place, right? Not everyone's gonna say the best things all the time. And everyone's
except me.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's why I have a podcast.
Of course, we're the only people that anyone should ever listen to, and the only people that ever write.
And I'm not even a Latino Los Angeles politician, so
yeah,
at least as far as you're aware,
dude. If you were, I feel like we'd probably be in a lot better position right now. Like,
yeah, probably.
You could be plugging us to all the right people. I mean, you could help our boy Seneca out a little bit, probably.
Yeah, honestly, if that described me, I I mean, I'd probably be in some hot water in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't be on this podcast. You'd have other
No.
material interest.
You'd be my chief of staff,
Yeah,
though, baby.
I hope so, dude. I hope to think you take care of your boy like that.
Absolutely. The thing that's funny to me about this, and I think this is one of the more interesting things to talk about, is that it shows the light-skinned privilege discourse, which I love because that gets particularly petty.
Yes.
And it's kind of it's the eating their own kind of given form. That's a big thing among the Latinx communities. Is you got people out here, saying they're freaking Latino that look like just as white as me.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'm fucking white as the driven snow. And proud of it, by the way, because there's nothing wrong with
nothing
that.
wrong with nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with being white. I'm just picturing like a black person, the one black person that listens to our podcast, just being like, "It's not my path." Yeah, man, it's just funny the miserly little scorekeeping approach to race. I'm Mexican, but I'm pale skin, and so because of that, my power level is slightly lower than a more olive skinned. It's funny.
Mexicans are the real whites, bro, and blacks are the real Jews. That's really what the takeaway for this episode.
Absolutely. Honestly, welcome to These People Are Sick. Newsflash: everything you know about race is a lie.
Yeah.
So really, the heavy set black men screaming at women at New York City subway stations know all the answers. Yeah.
That's probably a good note to end it on, bro. Take that with y'all for the week.
Note to end it on. Hit and stop.